Hello, I'm Scrappy Builds. Welcome to Filling Containers with Chunk, a QwaPA tutorial. Here you see my little workspace. I've already got some containers full of junk. And today we're going to fill this one with junk. I'm going to walk through how to use QwaPA to tilt objects and how to use the Place Anywhere post. These are those two objects here, General Selector post to tilt, and then this is the Place Anywhere post. Here I've got some kind of tools or jigs that I've already set up. These are the items that we're going to use to stuff that box full of junk. And this is another tool. This will be kind of my general free-form tilting tool, as you'll see shortly. Generally, you see all those kind of jigs that I have down, not here, but down there. You see I'll grab a gas canister. Usually I tilt with objects that are rectangular. It's just a little more precise and easy to control that way. One item I like to use a lot that I didn't manage to collect before making this video is the Blast Radius board game. And that, along with the bread box and this gas canister, they all have an orientation, so you know which way they're facing. And so the longer you do this, the better you get at it. You'll be able to know ahead of time, without much trial and error, kind of what axis that your objects are going to tilt towards. And here I've just demonstrated how to make that gas canister static, which I already did with the one on the left. And you see I dropped it from my inventory, and then when I hover over it, I can press square to QwaPA select, and then go into my inventory and make static. Go back and watch that again if you missed it. Sorry, I'm a little out of sync with the video because I'm rambling too much. Anyway, so you see here I've gone into my special tab, and that's where the QwaPA tools are located. And you have this general selector post and the QwaPA Place Anywhere post, PA post. And so we're going to use that PA post. As you see, I clicked attach, and now the post is connected to this item. I can rotate it, I can move it, I can place it anywhere, as you see, and until I hit detach, it'll remain connected to this item. I can move it anywhere I like. I can glitch it through items just like that. And you see when I move forward, the post disappears, so I can see what I'm doing. So I found that this is that military grade circuit board. That fits pretty well as kind of like a bottom, a false bottom to these little crates from USO. So I like using those. Just kind of makes that crate look full if you get close to it. So here the next item we're going to use is this here industrial wall light. And I'm going to grab it with the QwaPA stick so that I can place it anywhere. I'm going to detach there, and now I'll use my general selector post. And the way this thing works is whatever item, the center of which is closest to the general selector post, that will be the selected item once you tilt. And I'll go to my gas canister, that's my target item, I hit square on it, and then when I go back to the general selector post and press X, you saw that industrial wall light popped over to the gas container. And I know that went quick, but I'll do it again, and you can see it with a couple other objects later in this video. And you see here, I'm just kind of demonstrating that you can see what axis that object is tilted to now, and then when I rotate it, it'll rotate around that new axis only, as you see. So it'll take some trial and error to get used to tilting and how stuff works. Sometimes you'll tilt something and it'll be just totally cattywampus, not at all what you expected. And then basically you just you move your target item, the inventory item, you just move that to a new axis and try again. It takes some trial and error. Here I'm using that Raider kind of like shin guard or whatever. I like using armor and clothing a lot to stuff boxes. For one, because they're easy to use, and also because they're often kind of hard to distinguish what it is, but I don't know, to me they just look good filling up boxes. They're easy to use, like they're not really recognizable. In my builds I like to kind of use unique items and make stuff look kind of unique. So there I use the Raider helm, Now this is the Super Mutant Aviator cap. Both of these items I got from the CVA mod. The USO mod. But you could, obviously go collect these and drop them from your inventory and then do it that way. Just to save time, I've used the mod. You see that's glitching through the back a little bit. That's definitely one of the pointers for this video. Like, if you're never going to see it in the settlement, don't worry about it. I know that I'm only going to be looking at that item head on, and so I don't care if it's glitching through the back a little bit. So here's a wall conduit that I'm going to tip. As you see, I put the general selector post right on top of it, right towards the center of that item. And I'm going to press square on that gas canister, come back to the general selector post and press X to make tilt, and then you just saw that conduit jumped over to this gas canister. And now it's tilted to the new axis. And again, the more you do this, the more you'll get used to kind of what orientation all the objects have and where they're going to tilt. So now I'm just going to glitch this through that box so it looks like you got a little something sticking up out of the side of this box. I can see it's kind of clipping through the side of that box. And I might want to show that side, so I'm going to move it forward just a little bit. There's one thing I like to do is, place my objects, get a look at all angles that I know I'm going to show or that I want to be seen, and just make sure it's good before I disconnect this place anywhere post, because once you disconnect it, it can be tricky to grab that item again. Sometimes you have to basically start over from scratch. So I like to be sure of everything is exactly where I want it before I disconnect and move on. And this is something I'll do. I'm going to grab a... Do I do that here? No. Never mind. I'll give you that pointer in a minute. This is a table microphone, again from the USO mod. And again, it's just an item that is a little bit unusual that people aren't really used to seeing. And I really like using items like that in my builds. And so here I'm going to test. I'm not exactly sure which axis that tilts to, so I did a little test tilt to that bread box. And now that I know which axis it'll tilt to, which way it'll orient when it's tilted, well, theoretically I'll have an easier time tilting this, but you'll see I have to do this a few times because I'm not used to tilting this item. And I left this in here just to give you an idea of, it can be kind of tedious sometimes tilting objects one at a time. You see, I know that I want it tilted the other way, so I'm going to have to, and I check to make sure that it's on the axis that I think it's rotating. That's not going to work for me, so I'm going to tilt it the other way. Oh, and here you see that I haven't moved that general selector post yet, so until I move that thing, the object is going to remain tied to the object that I last placed it on, which is that microphone. And so here for the third time, now I've got that tilted. See, I turned it upside down, and now I've got it tilted the way I like. So we'll go back in the workshop menu and place this item using the place anywhere post. There we go, that looks good to me. And even though that conduit is glitching through a little bit, you can't really tell from the front, so I'm going to leave it because I know I'm not going to look at this workbench from the side during this video, not like, so it doesn't really matter to me. So it's pretty much that box full. This is what I was going to tell you earlier. Sometimes when I want to get a better look at something, I'll grab an item so that, what I actually want to look at isn't highlighted. That way I can just kind of get a better feel of how it's actually going to look. And there you go, you see that box looks full, but when I moved it, there's barely anything in it. Similar with this one, it looks like stuff is kind of piling out of it, but when I move it, it's just a few items strategically placed. I'll show you what those are. This is a High Confessor's Helm, and again, you can find that in the world and do it, but I just took it from USO mod. And I just glitched that firework mortar through there. Now I'll place this thing back. And you can just see that you can do this either way. You know, when I was making this build, I put the container first and then stuffed it with stuff, glitched that stuff in with the place anywhere post. But you can do it in reverse order too. Place stuff down and then put the container over it, just like I'm doing here. Whichever works best for you at a particular time. And then this is another thing I like to do. If you've got a lot of containers have negative space in them, but you can't actually put stuff on those shelves. And so I like to fill little spaces like that. And so in this instance, you see I've used this invisible rug, also from USO mod. I've just dropped some inventory items, made them static, and then now I'm able to move them with this rug and get them in there nice and easy. And to me that looks a lot better and more realistic than if I were to just leave that shelf empty. And there you have it. There's some stuffed shelves. You see these others I did, basically using the same techniques. A lot of that stuff is just dropped from my inventory. And then I'll glitch stuff in and under and around it. And again, you see something clipping through there a little bit, but I don't really care because you can't see it from the front, which is the angle that I'm going to be showing. There's some fine tilting with those pencils and stuff, but pretty much the same process. So real quick, I just want to give you a glimpse of how this looks at night. And I want to thank you for stopping by and watching this. I hope this tutorial helped a little bit. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. And good luck with future builds. Thanks so much for watching.